Hey, this is Drew Bennett from BenSpark.com, and yesterday I got to see Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. It was awesome. I could finally break my silence and talk about it. So this is my review. It will be a spoiler-free review. I was invited to go see it as a member of the press, so I got to go in. I had to put my phone aside. I was able to tweet a few things beforehand, saying that I was going to see the movie and stuff like that. But then I had an embargo until 5 o'clock tonight. And then I found out that the embargo was at 12. So this is after the embargo. I am free and clear for saying what I want to say about the movie. And to do that, I'm going to use some toys. So just take a look at this. This is what I've got to say about the movie. And we're going to do it with toys. The movie starts with the main character, Jyn Erso. And Jyn is on her planet with her father and her mother when Krennic and his death troopers come to take her father away. Now, I don't have the Krennic, I don't have the Krennic figure, and I don't have a figure for Galen Erso. And so, anyway, the Death Troopers come, and they come looking for Galen Erso because he has the brains behind creating the super weapon, the Death Star. So they end up taking her father, and she is left alone. Alone and hiding. She is there. They are in contact with Saw Gerrera. Now, Saw Gerrera, if you've ever seen the Clone Wars television show, that's where you're going to learn about Saw Gerrera. So there are some episodes that you should probably see on the Clone Wars to learn about Saw Gerrera. Anyway, he is an extremist, very extreme, very militant. He is also someone who has protected Jyn for years. Although we find her later in a prison. And so she's in a prison, and the Rebel Alliance finds out that there is a pilot who has defected, and he's in the hands of Saw Gerrera. So back to Saw Gerrera. There's a connection between Saw Gerrera and Jyn. And so the Alliance frees Jyn from the prison in an effort to make contact with Saw Gerrera. And so she ends up meeting Captain Cassian Andor, and meets Cassian Andor. They don't really get along too well. They have different ideas. She wants to stay as far away from anything that's going on with the Empire and the rebels and all that stuff. She just wants to keep her head down and get out of the way. He has been fighting for the rebellion for a very long time. They've both been on their own for a very long time. Captain Andor, when we first meet him, I was kind of shocked. But then the more you think about it, they're in a war, and there are things that people have to do in a war, especially when they are rebelling against something like the Alliance. I mean, the Empire, the evil Empire. They're rebelling against something, the evil Empire. Sacrifices have to be made, and it at first kind of threw me, but he grew on me. Anyway. They free her, they bring her to the council. The council has folks in it like Mon Mothma, which you have seen before. But then you look through, and throughout the movie, there are some, I'd say, cameos and stuff like that. People you are familiar with, and you will see them. I will not spoil that and tell you who any of them are. Whatever happens here, they go out and they then... Well, they go looking for Saw Gerrera. They also have this reprogrammed Imperial Droid
K-2SO, voiced by the very talented Alan Tudyk, scene stealer of every scene he's in, practically. He's very funny. As far as a droid, he's probably he's my favorite droid. He's my favorite droid because he is like the anti-C-3PO. And I know some people love C-3PO, but he's the anti-C-3PO. He's very quick. He doesn't miss anything. He catches everything as far as references or whatever. You know, things go right over C-3PO's head, not K-2SO. And he's funny as anything. So the three of them head off world to another world. There are a lot of planets. At the beginning of the movie, you go from planet to planet to planet to planet to planet. It might get a little repetitive and crazy at first, but stick with it. The story gets awesome, and the movie rolls along really well. So these guys go. They're looking for Saw Gerrera, but along the way, they meet up with Chirrut Imwe, and he is a blind martial artist who is also very in tune with the Force, believes in the Force a lot, and a character I haven't unboxed yet. I'm going to unbox him right now, Baze Malbus. Probably one of my favorite characters of the movie. So let me get him out of the box. All right, here's Baze and his awesome gun. He's just really kicks butt with this thing. I like him a lot. These guys are buddies. So these are friends. So here we got 5 characters that make up part of this Rebel Alliance. That are this not Rebel Alliance, but you know this group that is going to find the defected pilot that Saw Gerrera has. Eventually catch up with Saw Gerrera. There is a connection meeting with these two. They get the pilot, and there's also some reconnection of Jyn with her father. So they go back to the council, and back to the council. I don't know, here's a different Jyn. Let's put her here, and you know, Andor cleans up well. So they're back, and they know what they need to do, but nobody else is going to do it with them. So it's Dirty Dozen time. You know, so we got our Dirty Dozen, Dirty Half Dozen. We're missing Bodhi Rook, who is the pilot. So we got our Dirty Half Dozen and some other folks that are volunteering. They're going out to steal the plans of the Death Star. That's the point of the movie. And so what happens there, I'm going to leave it to you, but there is great stuff happening in this movie. I loved it a lot. We've got all sorts of really cool stuff. I don't have a lot of the bad guys. I should, but you do know that Darth Vader is in it. There's been trailers. Darth Vader's in it, does some awesome moments, and you'll see more of that. Now back to live action, Drew.
I really enjoyed Rogue One. It was a good movie. There are some parts that are awesome. There are some parts that are a little slow. There are great cameos. There are great callbacks. I think what you're going to enjoy most about this is that it doesn't rehash like A New Hope. I think that was a big thing that people didn't like about The Force Awakens, that they said, oh, it's a rehash of A New Hope. This isn't that. This has some callbacks. It has some great things that you see in the background if you're really paying attention. A lot of things for the fans. So much stuff that I didn't even catch. I was reading some reviews, and there's so many things that I didn't catch in there. There was some that I did catch that I really thought was cool, because I'm a big fan of Star Wars Rebels and also the Clone Wars and things like that. So there's a lot of those ties into that because it goes before A New Hope. I mean, this movie leads you to A New Hope because, you know, the main thing about in the New Hope is that the plans for the Death Star were stolen, and you know, so that they're trying to get those plans back to the rebellion. And so, you know, this is how those plans get stolen, and it's very cool. One thing I noticed is that, all right, I bought this toy. this supposedly, like, you know, evilized R2D2, or a different R2D2 for the Imperials, and it's C2B5. I never saw this thing in the movie. But, I mean, he looks so much like R2D2. It's, you know, R2D2 in black. So, I don't know. I don't know why, you know, I don't have a Bodhi Rook, but I do have this character that I never saw in the movie at all. Anyway, there were some toys that I've seen, and, you know, if I'm going off of toys and stuff, there's toys I've seen. There's some action figures. There was this really cool big character that was like, it almost looked like, you know, a tame wampa, but not really. It, you know, that character, I see him in the movie, but, you know, I'm expecting really cool things. Some stuff you expect to see and you don't see. Some stuff that were in the trailers aren't in the movie. That's okay. The movie itself, awesome. It was great to see it. A lot of something new. You know, I mean, I loved Force Awakens. I loved it. And it left me like really excited because it was nostalgia. It was all that I knew and I liked. This I liked in a different way because it was something different. It was something new. Even though we know the outcome of the story and what the story is going to be and all that stuff, it still approached it in a new way. New characters that we hadn't even met before, that really weren't tied to other characters that we already know, unless they were tied to somebody from like the Clone Wars or stuff like that. Anyway, it was great. I recommend you go see it. It's a lot of fun. And, you know, I'm waiting for the rest of the toys. I'm going to probably pick up some of the stormtroopers and probably the, you know, what's his, now I'm losing his mind. He plays a guy on the TV show Bloodlines. He was I think it's Krennic. I might be wrong. It's Owen or Orson. Orson Krennic, I think his name is. I'll probably get it wrong because Owen, that's Uncle Owen. No, Orson Krennic, I think his name is. Anyway, he is the kind of the main big baddie in this one, where he comes and takes Jyn's father, makes Jyn's father work on the Death Star. Really very good movie. I can't even say enough about it. I'm probably not going to write too much about it. My video is all about what I thought of the movie. And I hope that I did not spoil anything or give anything away. You know, that's pretty much, this is the story. You can kind of see that in the trailers. I don't think I gave you anything that you wouldn't have seen. And, you know, just keep your eyes open for so many things. I missed a lot. There's so much more to see. A lot of Easter eggs, a lot of things for the fans, a lot of fun. And the acting was really good. Felicity Jones, I love her. She's awesome. I just saw 2 movies with her in this past week period, where I saw her in Rogue One, but I also saw her in a movie called The Monster Calls, and both, she has a really great way of acting, and there's some real strength to her as a character, real vulnerability of her as a character. There's certainly some flaws as her character, but she does it so well. And, you know, between her, I love Donnie Yen. I mean, the action sequences with Donnie Yen were awesome. The action sequences between, and he's Chirrut Imwe. Him and Baze Malbus, they're like best friends, and the two of them play off each other really well. And of course, K-2SO steals the scenes. There's so much I can say about it. I know this is long. Anyway, this is Drew Bennett from BenSpark.com. You can find me on Instagram as BenSpark, Twitter as BenSpark, Facebook.com/I'm not a famous blogger. And you can find me here doing videos every day. Thanks for watching.